Hello and welcome to the Trailbike Field Test. We're here in Arkansas where we're going to be testing a batch of the latest and greatest new trail bikes for 2026. Yeah, the color, I think it's prickly pear, so it matches my glasses, that's important.
Oh, man. Welcome back to pinkbug.com. This is way cooler than bikes.
By the end of this testing session, we'll be able to let you know which one is the best.
In order to test all of these bikes, we have a whole host of exciting and entertaining challenges to run them through.
3, 2, 1, go.
That's going to test these bikes in climbing, descending, and a bunch of other anecdotal words about these bikes.
Super light.
Pretty good.
You go slower when you hit trees. Some scientific, some pseudo-scientific testing. But before we go any further, we need to reveal the bikes that we have on test. First up, we have the Intense Spider. 130 millimeters of rear travel, 130 millimeters of front travel via dual link suspension design. This bike was released earlier this year. It took a little bit for it to become available, but we've got our hands on one now and we're excited to ride it. Next up, we have the Trek Fuel EX. We reviewed the longer travel version, the LX, but the EX is the one that's made for trail riding, which is what we're here to do. So that has 145 millimeters of rear travel, 150 millimeter fork, and that suspension is controlled by Trek's ABP suspension layout. Really gonna be interesting to see how the shorter travel configuration compares to that longer travel one and how it stacks up against these other bikes. And then we have the Revel Rascal SL, 130 millimeters of rear travel, 140 millimeter fork, and that nice prickly pear green color. This bike may look familiar. The difference between the previous version and this one really comes down to weight. The new frame is said to weigh around 200 grams less than the previous version. So really interesting to see how this one handles out on the trail. That's the Revel Rascal. Matt, why don't you go through the next few bikes?
First on my list is the Polygon Colossus T. Now, this is an interesting bike because it also uses a dual link layout, carbon frame, but it is on the maybe more affordable side of this range of bikes we have here. Runs on dual 29-inch wheels, 160 mil fork, 140 mil out back. It does have in-frame storage and quite a neat selection of components. So interested to see how this handles on more of the flatter rolling terrain out here. And then next to that, we have the Salsa Blackthorn. This is another interesting bike because it sits at the shorter end of the spectrum in terms of travel, 140 fork, 125 out back, but it can actually take a different form by changing out the fork and the rear shock. That can be bumped up to 140 out back and 160 up front. It also has a carbon frame, but it does not use in-frame storage. Instead, it uses on-board storage with a pretty interesting, neat little Velcro strap that can handle a bunch of extra tools and supplies. Last but not least is Propain's latest and greatest trail bike. This is the Hugene full carbon frame. It has a 140 mil fork, 130 mil rear, and that's via Propain's Pro 10 suspension. That's that dual link layout that squishes the shock from both ends. This is a pretty routine trail bike build, kind of sits right in the middle of that shorter end sharp spectrum and the longer end. So really curious to see how this stacks up against both the Trek and then the shorter end like the Intense Spider.
And we actually have a special guest in the form of the Canyon Spectral. If this bike looks familiar, it's because it was last year's bike of the year, and this is the same exact bike that we tested during the field test 1 year ago.
This is a very bright Canyon Spectral CF.
Great all-rounder, good price. Lives up to those initial 3 words, bright, happy, and fun. So it's back just in order to have a baseline, compare these bikes against it, see if it's any better, see how it holds up. We're not only testing trail bikes, we're also testing e-bikes. We're joined by our testers, Dario and Stefan, who are feeding each other and making sure they're well hydrated and fueled for tomorrow's testing. So they've got their own crop of another 6 new e-bikes. You'll be able to check out that content as well.
Like the e-bikers, we also have a set of control tires, and thanks to Maxxis, we have the latest dissectors running those front and rear. We also have some other shout outs to give.
For this field test, our apparel was provided by Endura, our helmets were provided by Met, and we have a location sponsor, and that includes the Runway Group, Visit Bentonville, Discover Bella Vista, and the Arkansas Tourism Board.
Now that we had a good look at the bikes, we are excited to get on these and actually ride them. So we're gonna head back to the house and get them all set up for day 1 tomorrow.
It's a new remote.
We are here at day 1 of field test, and that means it's time for first impressions. Now, in order to choose the bikes we're doing our first impressions on, we're doing it a bit differently this year. I have written down the marketing copy on these placards. You are going to try to guess which bike corresponds with the marketing copy, and then you're going to duke it out and see who gets to ride each of these bikes. You're going to have 3 apiece. and then you're gonna go out on trail. So, are we ready for the first bike?
Ready.
Hit it.
Cool. Whether you're pushing for performance on long rides or seeking to smooth out dynamic terrain, the Blank is your ideal trail companion. Which bike is this?
Intense, dynamic. It's very dynamic. I'm gonna smooth out the terrain.
What do you think it is, Matt?
Revel.
Are those your final answers?
Final answer, Revel.
The correct answer gets this bike.
Okay. Hopefully get it right.
It's the Intense.
Yes.
The active rear end stays planted while climbing and descending, while the Geo and Travel make for an exceptionally stable ride through rocks, roots, drops, jumps, and anything else you come across.
Everything.
Everything.
Propain.
It probably is the Propain because it's got the different rear end. Well, we have to rock, paper, scissors then. I think it's the Propain also. Well, we need to tell us if it is. And then if we're wrong, we'll keep going. Is that the Propain?
Wrong.
Oh.
Both wrong.
Both wrong. Active rear end. Revel. I think it's a Revel actually.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Propain.
We know it's,
We know
not
it's wrong.
that, though.
So,
He's like, no, I'm digging in. It's definitely the Propain. I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
You wrote the wrong bike on the placard.
I think you get the Revel then. No, you get the Revel. That's it. You get not a punishment, but you have to ride that because you didn't know it. I
This
think
one?
that works. Yeah, he's got the
Yeah,
Revel.
okay. It is the Salsa.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Up next, ultra agile and poppy, it carves playful lines into otherwise forgettable trails and holds its own when things get rough, and lets you cover ground with serious efficiency.
This one I think is the Propane. Efficient Propane.
Alright.
Pro pedal.
Pro
that.
pedal.
Oh, they said pro.
It's the Propain. I don't understand the logic that got you there.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Propain.
All right, Mac gets the Propain. From all-day single track to jump lines, punchy climbs to your steepest descents, Blank is always down to send.
We have. I think that sounds like
Trek.
Sounds like a trek.
You're both in agreement on the track?
Yeah. Do we have to
Rock, paper, scissors again, I
Oh, no.
guess.
We're getting practice. We're gonna win rock paper scissors world championships. All right.
Track
Track.
for you.
Enjoy your trek. Now for the final two, I'm going to read them both out, and they're going to argue over who gets which. Number 1. This bike is the best climber, the sturdiest descender, and likely your best new trail friend. Pretty compelling
yeah,
argument.
he's a
Number
friend.
2. The Blank is designed for riders who want to push their limits without sacrificing versatility.
I like versatility.
I do too.
Yeah?
I can use a friend though. I'll go with a trail friend.
All right, it's simple.
Yeah.
not ours.
Who's my trail friend?
Trail friend is the
I have a
Revel,
Revel.
and versatility is the Polygon.
Polygon.
The
Ah.
Polygon, notably, is not visible here. That's because we're waiting for our DHL driver to show up. That's day 1. Those are the bikes. They've got 3 apiece. We are now going to strap a GoPro to their chests and send them out onto trail to give us their actual first impressions.
All right, we're going out for a first ride impression on Salsa Blackthorn. Mike, you are on the...
Got the Intense Spider. Let's see how these little things go. Shakedown ride, a little bit of tech up, tech down, and come back and see what we thought, and grab another bike.
First thing I've immediately noticed on the Salsa is just how low the front end is. Very stubby head tube, very low rise bar. Does not feel like a modern trail bike. The rear end's very short as well, so really likes to pop up on the back wheel. Oh, pretty twitchy little bike.
This bike feels pretty quick. Yeah, feels like a pretty good climber. Not doing anything weird. I think it's 130 mils of travel, but no weird bobbing or anything.
Oh, yeah, very sporty bike. Really over the front of the bike. The rear end turns on a dime, almost too quick. Almost pulls you back up on the bars. Kind of wild feeling.
Definitely easy bike to get off the ground. Small, not very heavy. Yeah, I'd say so far this thing handles junk well. Pretty smooth. First impressions of the Spider. I decided it's called the soft slalom bike because it's not super stiff and like very super responsive, but it's nice and tiny and maneuverable. It'd be fun to get out on some other trails later and see how it does in the more pump tracky stuff. But it feels pretty efficient and yeah, small and soft. First impressions.
Okay, I'm on the Salsa Blackthorn, and this bike is incredibly short out back, slammed front end. It feels very quick to pop off the front wheel. Like everything hinges on the rear axle. It's really like sporty when you get on the gas, but descending you're really close to the ground. Front end's really low. All right, quick first ride on these two. Now we're gonna swap out, grab some more bikes, go back on our test loop.
Can I go grab the Fuel EX and we got Propain?
Yeah, I'll try the Propain.
I noticed the extra little travel compared to the Intense Spider. So it kind of sits you up taller. You feel like you're on more travel because you are.
Pretty smooth, still pedals pretty decent. Feels light off the hop. Bit of derailleur clang.
Ever important skinny test. I think it pedals pretty well for 150, no travel.
Definitely much longer rear center than the Salsa. Yeah, also feeling pretty balanced on the uphills. Yeah, BB is definitely low. Haven't been riding much high speed stuff, but bike feels pretty planted.
Smells very nice here. You can really smell nature. If we had smell-o-vision, you would appreciate the sense.
Suspension kind of pushes through a little bit and kind of drives the BB down pretty quickly, which makes it feel secure, but almost kind of plays with the steering a bit too, which is not what you want right at the beginning of the travel necessarily.
Yeah, it's interesting. It kind of feels like this almost has a firmer suspension than the Spider, just as far as how easy it is to use its travel. You know, I'll play with settings as time goes on, but bikes like to use all of it at once, which is good.
Cool, so first shakedown ride on our second set of bikes. I'm on the Propain, Mike's on the track, and yeah, first thoughts, definitely a much more balanced bike than the Salsa. The BB seems to ride like really low, even with, you know, ballpark 29-30% sag, so I'm gonna play with that a bit more, but overall a lot more even keeled than the Salsa was. I'm excited to spend more time on this.
And I was on the Trek Fuel EX. Interesting to go back to back between the Intense, which has 130 mils of travel, and this which has 145 and a 150 mil fork. So it feels like a bigger bike overall, but still pretty efficient feeling. We got some just paved road spins on our lap and some smoother climbs and chunkier climbs, but yeah, felt pretty efficient. Might play with the shock progression settings just to kind of feel if that makes a difference. Yeah, bigger bike feel overall, but as expected. It's getting late. We're gonna call it a wrap for today. We'll pick up first impressions tomorrow. I'm gonna go grab some dinner, but we also are still waiting for the e-bikers to show up. They're pretty slow for some reason. We don't know why. We're faster.
They're breaking chains.
Yeah, meat powered for the win. But yeah, let's go find some fried crawdads and frog legs and things. Nice, I got the Reese's Pieces. How they ride this now is a joke. I have to keep riding it.
Day 2, Polygon showed up late last night. Stoked to ride this bike. Mike, what do you got?
I've got the Revel Rascal SL. Also excited to ride this one. Go get a quick lap in and get some first impressions.
All the linkages, let's go.
Linkage, bye. I think this bike might be nice for the terrain around here. We get these, not a ton of vert going up or down, but you get some rolly stuff, little techie bits. Right now I'm standing up, pedaling. Doesn't feel like it's bobbing up too much. It's a 130 bike. It also doesn't feel overly harsh or locked out. It feels pretty good.
Pretty active bike. We got a lower spec build on this thing, but it doesn't always translate to being a bad bike. Suspension actually feels pretty active with a bit of support.
That's very smooth, I would say. Those are tiny rock arms, but for 130 travel, felt nice. The skinny challenge. No bike has failed this yet. I'd be surprised if they did.
Yeah, right in the parking lot, or the driveway, we noticed this bike was pretty flexy. You can already feel that. The rear end just kind of shudders on bumps. Feels like the rear wheel's not quite bolted on there, but if you're looking for compliance, this could be a bike for you. Bit of a longer stem on this. This looks like a 60 mil stem, so a bit of an older school feel, but I do kind of like the geometry of this bike.
Let's talk about this turn, because that was really easy. Cool. Yeah, this bike feels super maneuverable. I like that.
How was that Revel?
It was really good. That was one, I think that's my best first lap so far on this field test. Felt really nice. Energetic. I don't look at the numbers in a while, but it's just as easy to handle, like the turns. It doesn't feel like it's super long. It doesn't feel super slack. Suspension is nice. You can kind of push off it. Doesn't go through the travel too quick.
Matches your glasses too.
Yeah, the color, I think it's prickly pear, so it matched my glasses. That's important. Matt was different.
Well, out of the box, we had a couple small hiccups. I found more of those on the trail. First one, went to put the water bottle back on. I knew the door was not securely attached. It's a little loud. Yeah, just trying to put this back on, the whole thing came off in my hand. So that was a little alarming because we were on the road. Second of all, the rear suspension, the linkage is quite wiggly, noodly. Not play, but like it flexes a lot. So on the trail, you can really feel that the bike kind of wanders side to side. Feels like your feet are not where your hands are directing them. Some minor woes, some larger concerns, but overall, I think the geo and the suspension kinematics are actually pretty dialed. We're somewhere. We'll try and suss this out a little bit more.
Those are our first impressions completed. We're gonna head in the garage, do some tinkering, get back out, do a bunch more miles, and start really testing these bikes.